welcome to Keto Mom. My name is Stephanie, and I want to talk about this complicated diet. Help! It's so hard to eat keto. That's what we're going to talk about today, this evening, this morning, whatever time you're watching this or listening to this live or on the podcast, because guess what? We are on Facebook, Keto Mom, Instagram, Keto Mom Secrets. We're on YouTube, and we've got a podcast called Keto Mom Secrets. So wherever you're listening or watching, we are going to talk about how to not complicate this diet. So as you're tuning in, tell me, if you can, where are you tuning in from? I am tuning in from my bedroom. I have my blanket. I am going to encourage you to get snuggled up on a couch. I've got warm socks on. I do have a hat on in my house. It is a winter hat because I live in Minnesota where it is super cold. I just got out of the shower. I have a wet head and I'm freezing. And I just wanted to wear my Keto Mom hat. So we are going to dive into the conversation of food, what to drink, how not to overcomplicate this, intermittent fasting. I want to share a story with you of how I actually got started because I'm going to guess the majority of you can probably relate if you listen. And so years ago, so maybe you read my hat and you might think to yourself, oh, she's Keto Mom. My name is Stephanie. I'm a homeschool mom, actually. I was a homeschool mom before I was a keto mom. I am a wife to an amazing husband. His name is Steve. Our 4 girls are 15, 13, 11, and 9. And when we first started this, I wasn't a keto mom. I was a mom that was trying to help my husband do keto. So we started this page almost 8 years ago because my husband wanted to lose some weight. Now, I'll tell you, when we started this, I thought, you know what? I'm going to be a really great wife. First of all, I wasn't great, meaning I wasn't cooking great food. I was cooking tons of bread and pasta and spaghetti and all of these sugary and high carb foods. So my husband would be doing really great throughout the day. He would come home and have my dinner, right? Now, I remember, because I really want you to understand, I totally get. Let me ask you this question. For those of you who are tuning in, are you just getting started? I want you to comment below. Are you just getting started or have you been here for a while? So have you been on this keto, low carb lifestyle for a while or are you brand new? Because there really is a difference, right? Maybe you've done it for years. Maybe you're like, I don't even know what to do. Maybe you did it years ago and you still feel like I don't know what to do because sometimes this word keto can seem kind of daunting or overwhelming. I remember probably 8 years ago, I told myself, probably 7 years ago, I'm going to help my husband. I actually think I can do this. So I packed all 4 girls up. I put them in our minivan that was held together by duct tape. And I drove to Hy-Vee. And at that time, as we got into the grocery store, I remember it very vividly. I got into the grocery store and it was summertime. I always carried one. So I had one either strapped to me or on my waist. I had 2 in the cart. And then my oldest was holding onto the cart. And I remember going, I am going to make some keto meals. Although I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I shouldn't be making mac and cheese, pizza, corn dogs, Debbie snacks. So here's what I did. I walked around the outside of the store where most people say you should shop. And I was looking at all the vegetables, and I'm going to tell you this. I had never eaten anything green in my life unless my mom made me when I was like little. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table. I was probably 10 years old. I refused to eat my peas, so I went and got a container of peanut butter. And every time I would eat 1 pea, which I sat at the table for probably 2 hours, I would eat a spoonful of peanut butter with a pea on it, and then I would eat it. And I'd eat a spoonful of peanut butter with 1 pea on it until all of my peas were gone. That's how I ate vegetables when I was young, if I was forced to do so. As an adult, up until 7 years ago, I never ate a salad, hated green beans, hated all things green, thought carrots were disgusting. I didn't eat my very first piece of celery till I think I was 34 years old. I say all of that because I walked around the grocery store and I remember looking at all of the vegetables and I was like, weird. I don't even know how to buy vegetables. I don't even know what this avocado tastes like. Never had tasted an avocado and I was over 30 years old. I didn't even know how to cut one open. I didn't know how to make anything that wasn't out of a box or prepackaged. No clue. I'm not even exaggerating. And I remember walking around going, I have no idea what I'm doing. And at that point, the girls were kind of getting restless. I was overwhelmed with grocery shopping. I didn't know what I was going to make. I felt like I was failing my husband. I'm not kidding. I walked out of the grocery store crying and I called my husband and I was like, I don't think I can do this. Have any of you ever felt like that? You look at the diet and you're like, I want to either lose weight myself or help somebody else. I want to feel better. I want to help somebody else, but I don't know what to do. I want you to know that you're not the only person that's been there. And guess what? I overcomplicated it. I thought everything had to be very strict macros. Like, I remember watching my husband track everything that he ate and pricked his finger to see if he was in ketosis. And has anybody on here done that? How many of you actually track your food? Do you track it in a tracker, MyFitnessPal, carb counter, all the macros, track everything that you eat? It can be exhausting, right? But I watched him do it. And I'll tell you, he did great. I did not. I really felt like a failure. I felt like I can't do this. And so I want you to know something. I wear this Keto Mom hat not because I'm actually even eating keto right now. I prefer more low carb, carb conscious, making better decisions. I drink ketones. I'm very aware of the food that I eat, how often I eat, what I'm drinking. I move my body, I work on my mindset, and I drink ketones. I want to help kind of alleviate the stress and the overwhelming like sense of feeling like everything has to be perfect. And I want to give you some basic tips to help you on this journey as you're diving into the new year, a new month, some new goals, a new outlook, a new focus. And not with, I'm going to hit the goals in 2 weeks or in a month, but I want you to commit to the next year as you dive into this diet, because right now it's going to feel like a diet, but the goal is to create a lifestyle long term, remembering that you didn't get here overnight and you're not going to get there overnight. So if I have your agreements, or if you agree, if I'm able to coach you, if you're open to coaching, how many of you are open to coaching? Can you give me a thumbs up in the comments? If you're open to coaching, raise your hand, say, yeah, that's me, give me a hoorah, tag your best friend in the comments, tag your mom and your sister and your coworker and go, hello, we all need to do this together because it's more fun to do it with people, have accountability, and go after some goals. All right, are you ready? I'm going to help make this as simple as possible. It's not going to be easy. I don't think things are easy, but they can be simple. I want to give you some basic understandings. I want you to say, just tell yourself, don't mess up good for perfect. I'm going to do the best that I can. The only way I'm going to fail this year, you need to tell yourself this. The only way I'm going to fail this year is if I quit, and none of you are going to quit. All right? So number one, the only way that I started, just so you know, is I started drinking ketones. That's it. I drink ketones. I drink them every day. I have for 7.5 years. My husband handed me this packet. He said, drink it. I drank it. I didn't need a nap that day. I, in the past, was a napper. I was a mom that turned the TV on for my girls every day. And I was like, Mom, you need a nap. I drank this little packet. I had energy for my kids. Ketones turned my brain on, helped me not eat. There's a very specific reason why I'm telling you this, because this helped me go back to the grocery store. So I was overwhelmed at first. I didn't understand how to cook. I thought everything had to be perfect. My husband found a packet of ketones. He's like, Stephanie, I think you would enjoy this. I was like, whatever, but I'll try it. Drank it. It tastes good. I felt great. I needed the product. It was a fuel source for me as a mom. And then what it did is it helped me take one day at a time. So if you understand ketones or ketosis, I'm going to tell you a little bit of how it works from a mom's point of view, but I'm not a doctor. Listen, your body can make ketones and you can drink them. And all I'm going to say is I drank this packet and it helped me go, I can do this. Like, I can do one day at a time, one meal at a time. It gave me clarity to go, this doesn't have to be perfect, but I actually have my brain turned on to where I can make the best choices possible. All right? So if you've never tried ketones, I want you to post trial in the comments so that we can chat. I'm going to show you some education from some doctors. I'm going to ask you what your goals are, and we're going to chat about what you're working towards this next year. This is where I started. Here's what I did. I drank this packet and I felt incredible. And I remember telling my husband, listen, I don't know what I'm drinking, but all I know is I actually need that every single day because I didn't eat a nap. I was super productive. I wasn't eating the cookies on the counter, and I actually felt like I could dominate my day. So I went back to the grocery store after doing a little bit research, and I was like, all right, what can I do? And here's your first tip. If you're actually taking notes, which I'm going to tell you, if your goal is to get better, if your goal is to grow in the pursuit of a better you, if your goal is to hit your goals and stay focused, part of that is actually taking notes. Did you know that? Like writing things down, getting things in front of you and having visuals so that you don't forget, right? So write down food. And what I did is I said, all right, I have never eaten a vegetable that wasn't out of a can. I used to say that creamy corn, has anybody of you ever eat that canned cream corn? That was my vegetable of choice. I know it's not a vegetable, and I know it's not a vegetable, but I would say we're having our vegetables tonight, and it would be cream corn. Not kidding. So what I did is I said, all right, I think I can do this. The first thing I did was I'm going to take one meal at a time. So all I did was go breakfast. All right, I can do breakfast. I didn't even think about lunch and dinner because I had my ketones. I felt great. My husband had his ketones. He was doing good because they actually worked. And I said, on a piece of paper, I got a little piece of paper. I don't have one for you. I normally do. Think of this as a piece of paper, okay? And I wrote down breakfast. I wrote down eggs, bacon, sausage, keto pancakes, and strawberries. Or protein shake. And I taped it. It was like markers and like a colorful piece of paper. I taped it on my refrigerator. And so when I, in the morning, was getting breakfast, I was like, oh, perfect. These are my options. That's what I did. And when I got all of the junk out of the house, when the cereal was gone, the bagels were gone, when all that was gone, I just stopped buying it. And I said, if I'm going to eat breakfast, these are my options. Here's what I'm going to do. I did the same thing with lunch and dinner. I wrote down lunch ideas. So I wrote down tuna fish and egg salad, low carb wraps. I started eating some salads, chicken, leftovers, and I just put it on my list and I taped it to the fridge. I did the same thing with dinners. I really wrote proteins, veggies, salad. I kept it super simple and I taped it to the fridge so that when I was when I was in a state of I don't know, I would look at the fridge and go breakfast, lunch, dinner. Those are my options. What am I making? I did the same thing with snacks. I wrote down pickles, cheese sticks, beef sticks, almonds, pickles, hard-boiled eggs. I already said that. But I just gave myself a visual so that when I kind of was what should I eat? I would just go, oh, this is a great option. I didn't mess up good for perfect. I wasn't tracking everything, but I knew that if I could make better choices, take the buns off the burger, I started eating salads with no croutons, more proteins and veggies. I learned how to cut open avocado, and I added a couple things. I could make better choices, and that in itself was immensely helpful. So if you can get to the point where you're not overwhelmed with tracking everything and trying to be so obsessive about how many carbs you're eating, but if you can follow a couple things with your food. Number one, only eat when you're hungry. You do not need to snack all day. You really shouldn't need snacks. You really don't. If you're going to have a snack, have a handful of almonds. Not like a handful of almonds, a handful of almonds, right? Be mindful. You don't need to eat because you're bored or because it's at your office desk or because it's in the employee lounge or it's on your counter. Eat when you're hungry. Have some visuals on your fridge and simple things. Get rid of the bread, pasta, potatoes. Is this making sense? Is this food making sense? If you want the foods list that I put on my refrigerator, post food in the comments and I'll send it to you. And it's super basic, but you can write it out or you can print it out. You can click on my website and you can make it yourself. So that's how I started. Now, my husband, after I started getting in a really good role of making better foods, not perfect, making keto recipes, doing some research, you can get all of our keto recipes on ketomomsecrets.com. Click on recipes. So ketomomsecrets.com. And then I was like, all right, all right. Next thing I'm going to work on is drinks. So I really was like, what should I be drinking? I got rid of the sugary stuff. I stopped buying juice. I stopped buying strawberry pop, and I started drinking water and ketones. That's all I drink, water and ketones. And I remember just kind of working myself through tracking my water. You should be drinking about half your body weight in ounces of water. So easy. We've got our food taken care of, right? We've got We're going to be drinking water. If you drink black coffee, that's great. If you need a better replacement instead of sugary syrup in your coffee, we can talk about that. But be very mindful about what's in your shaker bottle. So many people honestly drink all of their calories in the day in the morning. It's crazy how much sugar people are drinking. It really is important. So if you can be mindful about what you're eating, not eating when you're bored, eating when you're hungry, what's in your shaker bottle, grabbing some ketones, so something super simple. And then the next I was like, all right, I'm going to start moving my body. I actually didn't go to the gym for 1 year. I'm not saying not to do that. I would play with my kids and go for walks. I joined the gym a year after I got the food under control. But I'm going to say, if you can focus on your food, make better choices, drink your water, drink your ketones, move your body, right? Whether it's CrossFit or going for a walk or anything in between, it's up to you. Move your body. One of the doctors that we are blessed to be friends with, he's actually one of the formulators of ketones. He said everybody should be working on getting 10,000 steps in a day. He's like, hands down, if that's all they do, 10,000 steps a day, and then maybe a bit of higher cardio or weightlifting 2 to 3 times a week, if that's feasible for you, will help them a ton this next year. So we've got food, water, moving your body. The next thing I'm going to say is mindset, which I talk about on the Keto Mom page in the mornings. Your mind is important. If you believe that you can, you will over time with consistent action and the right expectations. If you believe that you can't, you won't. You're right either way, right? So we do mindset here on the mornings. We go through books. We're actually going through this book starting January 1st. If you're watching live, if you're watching sometime randomly in March, go back and watch January 1st. But this is the book that we're diving into together. It's called Your Divine Fingerprint. It's going to be great. I'm super excited. You can watch the Keto Mom lives in the morning or watch the replay or listen to the podcast, but that's what we're doing. All right, so we've got food, water, ketones, mindset. Okay, here's what happened about 2 years into this, because you guys have to understand, we've been sharing on this Keto Mom platform, whether it's been Facebook or Instagram, YouTube, for 7.5 years. About 2 years into our journey, my husband had dabbled with fasting, and I remember our company coming out with a fast, and I was like, no way. Nope, not doing it. People were talking about intermittent fasting. How many of you intermittent fast? Give me drop a 1 in the chat if you intermittent fast. If you are an intermittent faster, that is awesome, right? I remember somebody saying, you don't really need to eat breakfast. Breakfast was made up by the cereal company, and you really don't have to do it. And it would be so much better for your body learning about intermittent fasting if you eat within a time frame. Like, give yourself like 8 hours. And I was like, I'm going to starve. I eat breakfast every day. What are you talking about? I love breakfast. I get up, I eat my eggs, I eat my whatever I eat. And so I remember thinking, nope, not going to do it. Even like year 3, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to intermittent fast. And the more I've learned and the more I've realized, and now especially diving into this new year and listening to a whole bunch of doctors that we got to learn from this last month, that is the number one thing they're talking about is listen. Please listen. If you hear me say one thing, for those of you who are overwhelmed with wanting to get the weight off and wanting to feel better and not sure how to do keto, guess what? Most people don't do keto right. Most people don't need to actually do the ketogenic diet per se. It was made for medical reasons, and most people can't stick with it. The ones that say they can do it for about 6 weeks and quit and gain all the weight back. I hear it every day. Every day. 95% of people can stick with low carb, carb conscious, making better decisions, working on their water intake, moving their body, using ketones as a fuel source, working on their mindset, and intermittent fasting. What that means is you all should not be eating any more tonight. And I realize there are some exceptions of people working overnight. I'm talking about the average person that gets up in the morning and goes to bed at night, doesn't work overnight shifts. But I'm telling you, if you do not eat after dinner, your kitchen is closed, you're not having the excess snacks in the evenings, and then you go till about lunchtime the next day, you can calculate whatever time you stop eating to 16 hours. You can have your coffee, black coffee. You can have your water in the mornings. You can have ketones. These do not break your fast. And we have a brand new intermittent fasting kit I'm going to talk about, but just intermittent fasting by itself is going to let your body rest, reset. It helps your metabolism, helps your body process even the food from before. Like, it's incredible for you. And the reason that most people are overweight or they're gaining weight or they just don't know what I'm telling you, it's excessive food consumption from the time they wake up till the time they go to bed, all day long. It is the excessive snacking. It is all of the meals. It's the amount of sugar that people are drinking. It's not getting their steps in. It's sitting on the couch. It's sitting at their desk. It's negative mindset. All of that plays a factor. It's not even you tracking your carbs. It's legitimately the excess eating of food. And you can even overeat good food. Did you know that? Yeah, you can. I have people that are like, I'm eating keto. Like I'm eating the ketogenic diet. Here's my macros. They show me all of their food. And you want to know what I say to them? I say, let me ask you this question. Do you get to the end of the night and do you eat to fill in your macros? If you track your macros, you know what I'm saying. You get to the end of the night, you're like, I still have 25 grams of fat that I can eat. I'm going to go eat 5 fat bombs. You're not hungry. Your body doesn't need it. You just overate calories, therefore you're gaining weight. It's how it works. You don't even have to listen to me. Go listen to a whole bunch of other experts and you're going to hear the same thing. So here's what I want to encourage you in. I actually thought that I could never intermittent fast, nor do a longer fast because I would starve. And that's not true. It's not true because I have tools to help you do it. So if all you hear me say is this, number one, I want you to focus on food, not get overwhelmed, put food in the comments. I'll give you some ideas. One meal at a time, one day at a time. Number two, what is in your shaker bottle? What's in your coffee cup? What are you going through the drive-thru to drink? Let's make a pivot. Take the sugar out, water, and ketones if you need something. Listen, hands down, number one mom fuel, dad fuel. Like, it puts you in ketosis in under an hour. You don't even have to be eating keto. So you've got the energy, focus, appetite control, helps with your cravings and your mood. Even later on in the day, helps sleep at night. So many benefits. But also, the biggest thing is that intermittent fasting because you don't want to be starving. This is what helped me with it. And we have a brand new intermittent fasting kit. And so what this looks like is it has ketones, your electrolytes. We've got some keto protein that does not break your fast. And we have a system that's in place so that you can physically do this with us. So you can get up in the morning. We have the only products that you can physically drink that helps with your satiety, which helps you not eat throughout those hours, right? It gives you your electrolytes that you need, helps you feel full. It keeps your appetite under control. It gives you energy throughout your morning. So we have been doing this in our home. And I actually, even this morning, I went to CrossFit at noon and I didn't eat until I got home after my workout because I had my ketones, my electrolytes, I had my protein, my keto protein right before I went to the gym. And I came home, actually did a Zoom and ate after that because I have tools to help me go further faster. And then I can eat 2 solid meals a day. And if you want to, add a snack in there. But you don't need to be eating all day, right? So when you message me and you're like, I'm overwhelmed, this is super complicated, it should not be. None of it is. Because I want you to think about simple things like, all right, why am I making poor choices? I didn't pack my lunch. Why am I making poor choices? I'm not planned. I didn't prepare. I didn't go to the grocery store. I'm going through the drive-thru. I need to be more mindful. If you didn't watch my live this morning, I talked about Life Lessons 101. Today's topic was awareness. Go back and watch it or go back and listen to it. But we have an intermittent fasting kit that can help you. And so if you want more information on this kit, which is only available for a couple of days, just as it's like a beta test, right? Like, it's brand new. There's not a ton of them. You get to join us. We've got an intermittent fasting coach. We've got a group to plug you into. We're going to do it together. All I want you to do is post fasting below and we're going to chat. So post fasting in the comments. We will chat together. And really, it's going to also help you try it. For what we're helping people understand is, let's do intermittent fasting for 5 days and drink ketones as well on the weekends. So if you can do a solid Monday through Friday and you're intermittent fasting, you're making your best choices possible for your lunch and your dinner, you're moving your body, you're drinking your water. I'm going to help you with all of it. Saturdays and Sundays, you're going to keep drinking your ketones. You don't have to do the solid intermittent fasting. Maybe you want to have a great egg bake in the morning on Saturday. Maybe you go out on Sundays with your family before or after church. Like, that's the point. Is this the point? Is to create a lifestyle so that you can understand, like, oh, I'm not going to do this for 6 weeks and give up because it's too hard. I'm going to do this so that I can do this consistently, so I feel great, I lose the weight, I can make this a lifestyle approach. I can enjoy myself on a Saturday or Sunday if I decide to go to a birthday party or any type of, like, I think of like church functions, like potlucks, things like that, where you're not going to be so rigid that people are like, oh, she's not going to eat my food, she's on a diet. But you can enjoy yourself and know that you've got ketones in your system. You're doing great Monday through Friday. And we have a whole system to help you. So I want you to know this. If you are overwhelmed, don't be overwhelmed. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. You can send me a message. You can ask any questions that you have below. I'm here to help you. And I want you to know that it took me a full year to be really like, oh yeah, I can do this. I've got all these recipes. We had fun with it. We just say, don't mess up good for perfect. I was drinking my water. I was moving my body, and I was drinking ketones. And the only thing I'm going to say lastly about this is, I'll tell you a little quick story that I like to tell people. It's like an analogy of how this works, right? So these excuse me, I need some water. These ketones are in our fasting kit. And I give people an example. If you were really going to do the ketogenic diet, the proper ketogenic diet, it could take you a couple of days, if not a week, to get your body to make ketones, right? It's kind of like, we live in Minnesota. We also want to live in Florida. So eventually we are buying a house in Tampa, Florida. I am speaking it for this next year. So think about this. If I got into a car, I packed my girls up. Oh, my husband has some water for me. So sweet. If I got into a car, because my husband's always on the other side of the camera, if you did not know that. If I got into a car and I drove all 4 of our girls to Florida, we would have to stop for sure. It would take us a couple of days at least to get there. At least a couple of days if it was just me, probably 3 days. And all of a sudden, my husband's like, hey, I can't go with you right now, but I'll meet you after my meetings. And my husband got into an airplane and he got to Florida in 2 days. I'm sorry, 2 hours. It's the same thing as the diet versus drinking ketones. So we have the only naturally fermented ketone that matches what your body creates. If you've never seen the videos that I've shared before from the doctors that explain this in like 4 minutes, it's super fascinating. But I could do the ketogenic diet and have my body make ketones, maybe. Not everybody's will. It's like me driving to Florida. Or I could be like my husband, hop on an airplane, get there in 2 hours, drink ketones, have ketones in my system in under an hour, versus days of like cravings and crabbiness and trying to have my body make that switch. This is a fuel source. This is a tool to give you, to help you experience ketosis every single day as you work on your food like I did. So when I drank this product, I was able to go back to the grocery store and go, all right, just breakfast. All right, just lunch. All right, what are some better options? All right, I'm going to try these Brussels sprouts. I have no idea what they are, but I'm going to try something new. I'm going to give myself some grace. I'm going to do the best that I can. And I worked on it over time. That's what you need to do. Remember, you didn't get here overnight. You're not going to get there overnight, right? So the expectation of losing all of the weight by February it's just not, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's not, the expectation is wrong. You're not going to get there. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to give up and you're going to gain more weight. If that's all we're talking about is weight, right? But the expectation should be, I'm committed. I'm focused. I'm going to do this and I'm going to give it this year of learning and understanding my body, listening to my body, using the proper tools, asking Keto Mom for help, plugging into the Mindset Morning Lives, taking it one day at a time, drinking ketones, or joining us for the intermittent fasting. whatever it is, get in where you fit in. Let me help you. Let me guide you. I will share with you everything that I've learned in almost 8 years. Am I a doctor? No. Am I a mom that's super passionate that had no idea that the Keto Mom page would be a million people? I had no idea. I just wanted to help myself and help my husband. Actually, I wanted to help my husband and I would try to help myself. So, thank you for tuning in. Your presence matters. I love when you comment below. If there's things, actually, here's the last thing I'm going to ask you. If there is something, if you've been here for a while and you've been doing low carb or you're carb conscious, you've been making better decisions, you've been intermittent fasting, if you've been on this journey for a while and you're like, yeah, I've got this, why don't you share some things below? Like, here's a really fun question or a little phrase. If I knew then what I know now, here's what I would do. If you have something that you can share with everybody, if I knew then when I was first starting, if I knew then what I know now, this is what I would do. I would have intermittent fasted way, like a long, long time ago, because I understand and I've learned and I've listened to doctors about your body and your cells. I can't even, honestly, if you want to go Google and type in the benefits of intermittent fasting. Incredible. Actually, you should all do that. There's your homework assignment before you go to bed. Go to Google and go benefits of intermittent fasting. And it's incredibly powerful for your body for so many different reasons. And so if I knew then what I knew now, I would have started intermittent fasting long, long ago. And thankfully, I had ketones to help me with that in general. But if you think to yourself, I'm going to starve, that was me too. And I want you to join me or at least try it for 5 days. So post fasting in the comments. We're going to chat about what that looks like, how the fasting kits works. We're going to do it together as a big group. You're going to get coaching. I'm not going to just hand these to you and go, good luck. I'm going to be coaching you along with other coaches. So post fasting below. We're going to chat. Thank you for tuning in. You can always go to ketomomsecrets.com, click on recipes, click on book club, click on trials, anything that you're looking for. I hope you have an incredible night or morning, whatever time you're listening to this. I truly appreciate you, and we will talk